go, producer moments and tips. Straight from Nito. Huh? All right. So my first question is from Devo Kratz. Devo Kratz on Instagram. Say what up, what up. All right, when producing a beat, what instruments should you start off with? When producing a beat, what instrument should you start off with? Now, Devo Kratz from Instagram. This is what I would tell you. I don't necessarily have a one size fits all idea when it comes to creating music, right? When I think about creating music, and I'm going to produce the music based off of what I hear in my head. That's just me. I think what's happening is a lot of y'all trying to take my sauce, and y'all we're not the same. And I'm not saying that to be Hollywood, but we're not the same type of producer. You have to find out what things you do that makes you special, that you bring to the marketplace. That's the first thing. So, Devo Kratz, I want you to figure out what you do special. When people hear your beats, I hate to even say beats. I hate saying beats. When people hear your production, you have to start making people say production instead of beats to put the weight back on it. Because when anybody says, yo, you gonna produce a beat? Are you gonna produce a beat for me? No, I'm not producing a beat. I am a Grammy Award-winning music producer. I'm not only a Grammy Award-winning music producer, I am a platinum and gold selling music producer. I'm a classically trained music producer that actually has a degree in classical studies. The background starts in 1995. That's when it starts for me. So that's why I tell people, like, producers, especially all of my older producers, you have to remind people of the things that you've done. You have to remind people who you are, especially when it comes to them respecting your price point. You have to make them understand what it is you bring into the table and why are they paying this high premium. This is why you paying this. This is why you paying it. All right. But anyway, what I was about to say is, Devo Kratz, when it comes to producing music, you have to figure out what is the overall goal that I'm trying to accomplish out of this beat. If I'm sitting down to produce a beat for Black Thought, right? What's up, Black Thought? What up? But if I'm sitting down to produce a beat for Black Thought, I am thinking about what is Black Thought currently doing in his life. What was the last 2 or 3 albums that he released? What is his day-to-day, week-to-week schedule look like as far as his interaction with people? What type of things do he currently do, or does he currently do? What kind of things does he currently do that he can implement into his music? And then when I create music, I like to build bodies of work around the artist's brain. Like, if I know, again, Black Thought, if I know Black Thought is going to be on Jimmy Fallon every night, I'm going to try to even come up with hooks that he could kind of insert his schedule from the Jimmy Fallon show. I'm also going to build music that's easily transferable to the stage, because I know that's the type of artist he is. He might break out and do some type of freestyle in between. He might call India Arie up to the stage. He might get Music Soul Child. Then at the same token, he could get the Baby on stage, or he could get Post Malone on stage. And I try to create music for that artist, knowing that he has those type of resources available for him if he chose to use it. So that looks like this. I come in the studio, turn the lights and stuff on, turn the computer on. I'm like, okay, Black Thought. I'm automatically thinking boom bap drums. I'm gonna do a bass, live instrumentation for everything, because he's a part of the Roots. If he performs, and I think this is a small tip for any of my music producers, especially for y'all. If you're trying to produce music for artists and you want the life of that record to live on, but beyond your years, beyond the artist's years, and you want to just build a real legacy catalog, you have to think about how that artist is able to perform that song that you just produced. You have to think about how that song is going to transfer over to the stage. If you produce a beat, and I'm thinking about it from our standpoint. If I were to produce a beat for Black Thought and it had 3 sounds in it, let's say it had the drums, It had one 808, it had a drum, it had a piano, and some vocals. How is that going to sound on stage? That's going to sound hella empty. That makes, and see, now what happens is when producers have produced a song and you get an artist that hit a lick and they can book mad shows back to back, that song that you produce, even though if it's a hit on radio, now that artist has to go on tour and perform that song. Now you just opened up another element. This is the element that you opened up. Being that you didn't fully produce the song, now whoever's the MD, the musical director for that artist on tour, they have to interpret how that song sounds on the stage. So now they still got to go back and add a bass guitar, lead guitar, a singer, another keyboard player. They have to add hits. They have to do all of this work around that hit record that you produced. So now what's going to happen is when that artist is on stage and that band has interpreted your song, that three sound song that you produce, now that band has to interpret what that song sounds like on stage. You better hope that you got a really good music director. You better hope that you got a music director that knows instrumentation. Or this is the flip side. So, R.I.P. to Quincy Jones. How I start the podcast and not say R.I.P. to Quincy Jones? Oh my God. I should today. R.I.P. Quincy. I'm gonna make this the whole playlist should have been Quincy Jones. Oh my God. But anyway, you go to the Quincy Jones concept. You think about Off the Wall. You thinking about Thriller. You thinking about all of these records that Quincy produced for the great Michael Jackson. Now, Michael Jackson went up on stage. He performed that song. What the audience thinking? I'm going to tell you the first thing that the audience is thinking, I want that song to sound just like it sounds like on the record. And this is the part that most producers overlook. This is the stuff that most of y'all overlook. When that artist gets out on that stage and they perform that song, can they perform the song that you produced for them with just the stems, no extras, and have the same effect when they're on stage as when the person that's listening to them in the audience is listening to them in the car? Because I think what happens is this. People always forget the element of surprise, the element of authentic energy. When somebody hears Thriller, and I wish I could just play Bad or anything. I wish I could play something on the live pod, but I can't do it today. But whenever, oh, you said it's the lava ball challenge. Yeah, it is the lava ball challenge. Yeah. Yeah. They be getting me, yo. They be getting me. I promise you. Whipping the ass before they took the shot. But if you think about Thriller, and I love these conversations. So again, if y'all like this, matter of fact, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like this segment of the podcast, let me know. I need to hear from you. Because if you do like these conversations, I'll do more of them. But anyway, if you think about Thriller, and you think of drums, it's all of these elements. It's just like brain overload when it comes to sound. It's brain overload. So now, if I'm an audience member that's coming out to see Michael Jackson perform the joint, I want to hear that joint. I'll rock with you. When we hear all of this stuff, these are all elements of the song. So this is what happens. And I don't think producers understand. I'm about to teach you something. When the audience member or the average fan starts to memorize your musical note that goes along with the artist's vocal note, and they're humming your musical note along with the artist's vocal note, you are actually a featured artist on the song. You are. You are a musical featured artist on the song when the audience member can memorize parts and elements of that song that you produced for them. When you, all night, like when people hear that, and we had a musical interlude. Musical interludes are essential to hit records. Y'all got to start doing your research. And this is why I want producers to become, I want y'all to continue to come to my platform, because I want the new producers to be informed of the music that you're creating. It's not just music. It's not just music. I promise it's way more than that. It is an element of life. I would even say that. You know how we have water, we got earth, we got wind, fire, heart, put them all together. You have what? All combined are the planetary Captain Planet. But no, for real, I feel like music is another element. Just like water, fire, heart. I had to do it. I'm sorry. Music is another element. And I think when people start to respect and understand the placing of music and what that means in life, you'll start to respect it a little bit better. People will start to understand, yo, I need to be paying for this. People will actually want to go to your shows and pay premium and top dollar because they say, yo, you understand. You etched out a place in my timeline. People got to understand that. You got to understand that. You say, exactly. They got to get out the factory mode. They got to. Also, and I think what happens is, because I do be going back to Michael Jackson and those be my point of references, because I'm a producer, a real producer. Even Rick James. Everybody that has these songs has that element in it. If I do this, zin, 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 everybody knows what song it is. Everybody know exactly what song it is. You not only know what song it is, you remember what you were doing when the song came out. You remember how people were dressing. You remember what girl you was trying to holler at. If your approach didn't work, you remember that part too. But everybody has to understand, like, yo, music is an element that's essential to life. If you don't have music, it's going to be real boring. And if you got everybody sounding like factory workers, like my who is this? The real Bam Savage. What up? What up? What up? But if everybody is like some factory workers and making music off of sound packs, what are you actually doing different? What are you actually doing different? So I'll give you. So that's one thing. That's one thing. Or is there multiple things? Y'all let me know. Because we do have some more stuff to talk about. But the element of surprise, even. I think for so long, and maybe probably the last 10 years, maybe the last 10 years, why has all drums, and I'm talking about just sounds, just regular sounds, why has all drums or one specific type of drum been the only drum that hits top 40 radio? Have you ever thought about that? There's really only like maybe 3 or 4 sound packs worth of drums that always hit top 40 radio. Why is that? And I would put some of that towards the producers being lazy, and not only lazy from the production standpoint, but lazy from getting your music out and getting heard and getting seen. I think when people look at Pharrell, they look at Timbaland, they look at Dr. Dre, and I'm picking all of these people because they have different drums. They have different instrumentation. They have different brains. The way they just view music is just different. But if you look at Dre, you hear elements of the Gap Band. You hear elements of Parliament Funkadelic. You hear the Commodores. You hear all of those elements when it comes to Dr. Dre. But if you hear a Timbaland record, he can use the exact same samples that Dr. Dre used, and it's going to sound completely different. He got his own drums. He got his own analysis. Where he even picks the sample is not going to be the same place. You go to a Pharrell record, it's going to be completely different. They might just interpolate the record, and they're going to listen to it, and they're going to do, unfortunately, Pharrell, y'all know what y'all did. But like the Blurred Lines record, if you listen to the Blurred Lines record, then you listen to the Marvin Gaye record, and it's the same element. It's the same spirit of this. It's just, everybody has to understand what you do if you're a follower and you're just doing music just like everybody else is doing it right now, you're not going to bring nothing different to the marketplace. You might get a small bag for the short term, but in the long run, somebody else is just going to come spade you out with the same sound that you just produced. Would you rather do that and you have a good little run for maybe a year, or would you rather be a person that's like a Timbaland, Dre, Pharrell, Just Blaze, it's so many other, even DJ Paul. People are still using them same 3-6 Mafia drums that came out in 1999, 2002. Some of these, everything that we're currently listening to is the same thing over and over. So I want to ask y'all this. Who's going to be the person to change it up? Who's going to be the person to change it up? Y'all know I'm going to do me every time I get on, anytime I touch the keyboard. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to try to change and be proactive in pushing creative energy forward. But I need there to be more producers to push the initiative to be creative again. We need more people to push the initiative to be creative. It's okay to be lame for a season. You say, me, I love that. Come on, Bam. I love that. Love it. But this is the thing. It's okay to be lame for a season. Think about it like this. And I like the drive points home, and I might not. I did want to have a 40 and up conversation about hip hop. So we're going to have that conversation in a second too. But